Hey, welcome everyone again to OMG Live, the quarantine edition, coming to you live out of Trinidad and Tobago, but we are representing. And of course, also giving you some entertainment in the mix. Well, I'm Richard Ragoobarsingh, and I'll let everybody else introduce themselves.
Penelope Spencer. Hi.
I'm Richard. I'm glad to have you with us.
And I'm Camille Abrahams. I'm all the way in Maracas Valley. So happy to be here.
Hi, I'm Cecilia Salazar, and I am in Pity Valley in Trinidad, and I'm an actress, and I'm very happy to be here as well.
Hi, I'm Richard Young. Glad to have you with us today. We'd like to say a special welcome to Camille, who is now sitting in there for Vaughnette Bigford. Glad to have you with us, Camille.
I miss Vaughnette though.
Yeah, we all welcome, do. Camille. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yay!
A special shout out to all the Caribbean who have joined us. We are truly glad you're with us. Thanks for all your comments thus far and the feedback.
Yep. Now, OMG Live, the quarantine edition, is our way to come together to talk, laugh, argue, share, and build a community around our current situation. We all know now what we must do to get a hold of this COVID-19 situation. So let's band together and make this happen, people. Of course, the fundamental thing you could do is stay at home.
Home.
Exactly.
So we're going to
so we're going to keep you company for the next 40 minutes or so. All right, Richard, pass it back to you.
You may hear a voice. Trinidad. Welcome, Stephen, our DigiGod.
Hey,
thank you. Stephen.
Hi, everyone. Oh, you all are looking fabulous.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Stephen.
I guess we have to do this at home.
So looking at us to connect with us, ask questions, and be part of today's conversation. Today we're also playing games, listening to some music, checking out what's new and coming to your screens. And generally we aim to give you refreshing conversation and discussion to help you pass your time at home.
So welcome again to OMG Live, the quarantine edition, and you can share this feed on your timeline and select notify, so you will be notified when we are next on.
But before we go any further with our show today, we have today's OMG Live COVID-19 update.
Well, the figures are not slowing down, and of course, people should know by now that the planet crossed the 1 million people mark sometime yesterday, and that was a milestone in terms of the amount of people infected with the COVID-19 virus across the planet, actually. Trinidad and Tobago, of course, is in that mix. As of just before we came on air, the cases were about 1,056,581 and climbing. That's around the world 55,780 and recovered 224,007 persons. So that's giving you an idea of the picture as of today. Of course, Richard will give you an idea of what's taking place in Trinidad. And
Trinidad and Tobago, now 97 cases with 6 deaths. And it's also very sad to see that UK has registered more deaths than usual, and Spain is also overtaking Italy with the amount of deaths per day, So it's a great loss to so much lives. And I mean, that is what is shocking. But slightly we are getting some slower indications of infection as much as we're getting increases in death.
Yeah. And of course, I mean, it's all part of what's going on this horrific time. And of course, the countries leading with new infections are the United States with 12,502 new infections overnight, and Spain, wow, 5,645, and Germany with 4,657.
Wow.
Yeah. Crazy.
Wow. Here is a news clip from ABC News about the situation in Europe.
And while we focus on the impact here at home, is sadly rising sharply. So let's bring in ABC's Maggie Ruley in London. Maggie, it was a horrific day, particularly in Spain and France today.
Yeah, Lindsay, the numbers across Europe just keep being staggering. You mentioned Spain, that country today, the last 24 hours, 950 deaths from this virus. The total death toll there now topping 10,000. It's not just Spain. In France, also death tolls are spiking. That country now has seen more deaths from the virus than all of the reported deaths in China. Here in the UK, numbers also rising as well. We've seen back-to-back days of more than 500 deaths from COVID-19. And Lindsay, what's so shocking for me, it's striking the fact that these types of numbers, these would have been front headlines just last week. But now it seems like they've almost become commonplace. We're getting used to the fact that hundreds of people are dying in these countries every single day from this virus.
But Maggie, at least it seems that there are some signs, some hopeful signs in Italy, which just a few weeks ago was the worldwide epicenter of this crisis.
Yeah, we're all looking towards Italy right now, Lindsay. Again, they are a few weeks ahead of us, it's believed, in this crisis. Unfortunately, the death toll there is still significant. They had more than 700 deaths in that country today. But there are some glimmers of hope, two things in particular. One, we're looking at the percentage that this virus is increasing. And in Italy, it's been fairly stable. So we haven't seen that exponential rise. It's only been in the single digits now for the past 2 weeks. That's an incredibly good sign, maybe reaching that plateau. But the other thing I want to emphasize, Lindsay, is that they're seeing a much smaller number of people that are needing ICU beds. And while they still have a long way to go, that's an incredibly hopeful number, and hopefully something that, as we are starting this process of being in lockdown, can look towards them, potentially our future, and see that maybe there is a light at the end of this tunnel.
Certainly some positive.
Yeah, so that's crazy. So I don't know what you guys think. Camille, what's your opinion?
Well, the numbers for sure have changed drastically. So, for instance, in New York, for instance, in America, for instance, the highest rate of deaths from what I read this morning was today, and today is not over. Okay, so it's really dramatic what is happening.
Yeah. What about you, Penny? What do you think?
I think it's scary. It's scary, and I just want to stay inside more, and I don't understand how people hearing these figures and don't want to hibernate at the end of the tunnel, apparently. So.
Of course.
Yeah. Richard Young, do you have any opinion?
From the Prime Minister in Grenada, and they have taken very strict policies. And he says in one of his clips, he was saying, "I'm not interested in votes, I'm interested in lives, and that's all that's important, saving lives." So he has a lockdown policy, Dr. Keith Mitchell, and I must commend him because they acted very quickly, and yeah, I'm using him as an exemplar to us in the Caribbean, so yeah.
Well, the thing is, yeah, all of these countries to look at, they have been through it. They are going through the curve. They are rising right now. So we have all these countries to study their data and figure out what is the right thing to do. And so that's why I agree with Richard that the Caribbean islands, including Trinidad, we acted quickly. I don't know if we're stern enough because Trinidadians don't seem to understand that this thing could be transmitted by talking. I say thank God I'm not going to play with Richard Ragoobarsingh because he spits when he talks all the time on you as an actress. So, right now. So people take this.
Did you hear that Barbados is down? Barbados is going to be 24 hours lockdown as of 5 o'clock this evening. Did you all hear that? 24 hours lockdown.
I saw the pictures of 1 million people panicking, pictures of 1 million people going to shop. in
Yeah.
Graz, a COVID party.
Wow. We spoke to on the radio show program on in the mornings on Power 102. I spoke to Alison Hines this morning from Barbados. And in speaking with Alison Hines, she indicated, we were speaking to her, she indicated that they were going to that 24-hour lockdown, as you're talking about, Camille. And apparently their airports and stuff were recently shut down. And they didn't shut down as quickly as the rest of the Caribbean in terms of shutting down airports and shutting down ports. And of course, Barbados had an 11% jump, I believe, yesterday. I'm not too sure what their figures are today. And Alison was saying that there was a lot of anxiety across Barbados about how the government had dealt with it at that point, because they felt that maybe they weren't moving fast enough initially in terms of actually locking down the country. We also spoke to Alison about the issue of the Trinidadians who are in Barbados. You know, there are 35 Trinidadians and Tobagonians there, and they're being in isolation in a hotel because our borders had closed. And we'd ask her what Barbadians think of that, what did Bajans think? And she said it was mixed. She said for her, she was in a state of shock because she was saying, how come home doesn't want to take you? Because if home doesn't want to take you, then it means you have no choice but to be wherever you are, and they can't send you back to England because you were coming from England. And
so I have to say,
yeah.
Go ahead. I have to say that out of looking at the overall Caribbean, and this has nothing to do with politics, I think Trinidad, we did really, really well when we hear about these stories. And you know, there's a lot of back and forth with, you know, who should be tested and whatever. I mean, we have all the chair doctors right now, but I have to tell you, I feel very, I feel good about Trinidad right now. I don't know how you all feel about that.
Because in St. Vincent, distancing in St. Vincent is proper practice, and their borders are still open. You know, I have some Vincentian friends, and that's there is an image up of people at KFC in St. Vincent this morning, and it's packed with people trying to get in. You know,
I saw a clip of Antigua. I saw a clip of Antigua where the police was trying to break up a church service in Antigua, and the kind of defiance those police got, and people calling Jesus and them, and don't touch the anointed. I mean, some of the Caribbean people are really fighting this crisis and not understanding how detrimental it is for us to be in crowds. You know?
We need to. I just mean maybe we need to get maybe we need to get the message out there to the masses and to people in a different way, you know, through different forms of ads or something catchy, or maybe go outside, give them flyers in their hand. Maybe not all of them want to learn as much and are as interested looking as much as we are. I don't know how else to get the message through to them except for 24-hour quarantine. Grenada.
Yeah. Richard, you were going to say something there enthusiastically. Yeah.
I would just say that all of the newspapers this morning, or one or two of them certainly had the map of Trinidad and Tobago, and you could see where the identified positive cases were and the travel pattern, and it was scary. And what was also scary was that the sixth death seemed to be someone who came suddenly into the system because they didn't have time to do any investigation on the epidemiological research on where they were they a travel history, were they not, that sort of thing. So it's just pretty scary at this time. Of course, if I'm looking at Facebook, Roxanne Coulter, Boringham, Simone Donnellan, Nolan Fredericks, of course, Candace Sampson. Roxanne said, looking good, guys and gals. We need a different approach to this in the movement, and thank you for this effort.
You all did you all see a trending video where two young gentlemen were held by the police in Tobago because they put up a Facebook message saying F the police and F everybody, there's no coronavirus here, whatever. And the police went for them, all right, made them come back to the police station and read out a piece of paper. I mean, that is terrible, but I laughed my head off and I thought, what more could be asked for to make this message come across?
Exactly.
I did laugh too.
They should put that ad on the TV. They should put that on the TV for everybody to see.
There was another one like that coming from Antigua. But I wanted to add one of the things that is adding also to this scare. I saw what you would call conspiracy theory. And somebody was actually contradicting the news by going to the hospitals and having video footage of the fact that the hospitals are not as crowded, showing ambulance drivers on their cell phones, and it makes it look so real and grippingly the other side that it would confuse some minds that are really wanted to live in an individualist. So I saw that, like I said, what the hell is that? You know, so when they showed it on TV, they went to the hospital seemingly right after and said, there's nobody here. There's no crowd here. There's no rush. They spoke to some of the same people that the television people spoke to, and there was contrary statements. So it's a little confusing with that sort of conspiracy theory as it will, you know?
Oh, God, we love to deal with those theories another time.
There's so many conspiracy theories, but we have to deal with that another day because trust me, there's so many. Anyway, you know, let's move things along and let's head over, and we're going to lighten things up a bit. And of course, you know, we always like to take a look to see what's going on in that super intelligent place called TikTok. So meanwhile at TikTok.
If things at home, the same people are getting a little bit monotonous, maybe you can go into the porch and do some exercises like these people. Let's take a look at this.
Okay, I don't know what the hell was.
I hope they all live in
That's
together.
what you need to do. That's what you need to do
sometimes.
Just let it go. Just dance.
Exactly. I hope they're all living together. Right. But at least
it was a long time ago.
5 only. Yeah, true. It was a long time ago, many times. Okay.
All right, let's go on to the next one. So this young man who is feeling so connected to his girlfriend because of their time together recently decided to take the closeness to the next level and ask her this question. Take a look.
Ooh.
Babe,
Yeah.
I bet you can tell me something that would make me happy and sad at the same time.
You have the biggest penis out of all your friends.
You know what I like is how the face went from a big smile to absolute horror. I love that.
Oh my gosh.
He was figuring it out.
Oh, jeez.
I like that.
I have had that happen to me. You have anything like that happen to you before, Richard?
No. I wouldn't ask that question.
No, somebody tell you something that makes you smile and then at the same time, and
makes you sad.
Yeah, sad. Yeah. The other day,
I had that happen once where I got
I'll tell you one quick.
I got up. Then I'll tell mine.
Okay, yeah, quick. I was walking in town and somebody said, "Oh my gosh, I love you. You're my favorite. I haven't seen you for so long." I was like, "Oh, Donna Haddad."
Oh my God.
Let me tell you mine. Well, I got a beautiful message on Facebook saying how beautiful I am and how much this woman admires me, and she's so loving what I'm doing. And then she goes, and if you believe in this, send this to 20 women that you feel need to get this message. So I wasn't special.
I know one with Richard. Richard, you remember that time we were by that cinema, you, Richard, got Ragoobarsingh, and somebody said, "Oh my God, I love you. Can you take a picture?" And then they gave you the camera to take out a picture of them and the person they were with. Remember that? Yes, ago.
I'm getting ready to pose. I kid you not. And then they said, "No, I want you to take the picture."
Okay. Oh my God.
Right.
Anyway.
I don't know. People. But let's look at the last TikTok.
Yes, today is Friday and it's the weekend here. So there's only one way we can celebrate it here. 1, 2, 3. Hit it.
I don't know. I give up.
Yeah. Why not?
Long, please.
That is how TikTok people are passing the time. And let's get into our next segment. We're looking now at some trending of the day.
To our online audience, you too can send us your thoughts. Just email your videos, clips, or voice notes. Keep it, sane and, clean. info@omgtt.com. That's where you can send it to info@omgtt.com with your name and contact info. First off, we found this very interesting video in terms of trending topics on Facebook. Our former government minister, Glenn Ragoobarsingh, doing his bit to keep us comforted during trying times. Let's see it.
So maybe we could start off with something nice and global, something about global unity. There comes a time when the world must come together as our people dying, and though it's time to lend the hand to life, greatest gift of all, we can't go on pretending day by day that someone to make a change.
Things I want to say before we start on that. Right?
He done.
Two things. One is I miss Vaughnette right now. I miss Vaughnette right now. Right? The look on her face. And the funny thing is I saw somebody put up on Facebook this morning that it takes a special person to sing out of tune and out of time at the same time. And it's real because it's both, right?
I'm not
I love it,
Camille.
and I hope
And
but I
record
hope he
themselves,
continues.
yeah.
I hope he
Yeah, we
continues
need
because
that.
there's a fine line between Pekong, and this came on Facebook too. There's a fine line between Pekong and cyberbullying, and he's not pitch perfect, but it brought laughter to me, and we all need that right now.
Yeah.
Well,
Besides,
Camille,
I
the
don't want
only
anybody
problem
laughing
is,
at my
it
MP.
says, besides his laughter,
Yeah,
it's his
I don't-
intention. His intention. He means very well. He has a lovely.
Exactly.
If you go through the whole thing, he has a segment after where he shows them, and then he sings at the end again. It's very.
He should get his own show on TV6.
Penny didn't make it to the end.
No, I couldn't make it
okay,
to
all
the
the
end of
good.
the
That's
video.
all I could say. All the good, all the
We
good.
We have another clip that Camille is going to introduce. But before that, I want to point out some people who are online because they are from the Caribbean. There's Jean-Marie Thomas in Antigua. There's Vanderneil Gardner in Antigua. There's Richard Ambrose in St. Lucia. There's Aloy Johnson in Tobago, which is not Trinidad Tobago. Kirk Cambridge Delpech is in New York. Brent is right here with Roxanne Coltrust. But Camille, we know you lived in the UK for a few years well. And you had an observation you want to share with us. I really, really want to hear this because from what you gave me, the insight to it is quite interesting. Tell us a little about it.
So and I went to university there. I've been in the system. My children live there. My ex-in-laws live there. So I understand the country. I have had experiences where in the NHS, if you're there, and I was there for several childbirths, you see Caribbean people, you see Indian people, you see African people, you see Spanish people. It's just a diverse place, right? One of my cousins, actually, the reason why this sort of really touched me is because I have a cousin right now in NHS, Selvon is her name. I'll give her a shout out because she's working really, really hard. So she's in the hospital in London. And what we noticed is that the PSAs that were coming out of the NHS was not reflective of what the reality is. So a famous comedian called Gina actually did a shout out, kind of expressing the frustration of this. And I would love if we could share it with everyone right now, and then we could discuss. And she's a comedian, huh?
I was looking through the British newspapers today following the hashtag Clap for Our Carers, which is a wonderful hashtag originated to appreciate all the doctors and nurses and helpers and carers within the NHS who are putting their lives on the line every day, and even more so now since this pandemic started. Oh, and here's one from the Metro. And more from other newspapers around the UK. Did you notice what was missing? Not a single black face. Not one. But we all know that that's not what the NHS looks like. Where are the African doctors? Where are the Chinese and Caribbean doctors? Where are all the Asian doctors? Where are the Caribbean nurses? If you've been to a hospital in the UK anywhere in the last, 50 years, you know that that's not what the NHS looks like. Certainly not since Windrush. Everybody knows that in an African or Asian family, there's only 4 choices of career: doctor, lawyer, engineer, disgrace the family. So where are all the doctors and nurses of color? Why is it only the white doctors and nurses that are on the front page of every newspaper like they're the only heroes? Where they're all heroes. How about we see all of them? I don't know, I'm sure I'm not the only one who is sick of the contributions of all people of color being erased from history. So I think we should start a new hashtag. As well as clap for our carers, we should also start trending the hashtag stop the whitewash. Now, I know some people are going to get upset. Why are you always making it about colour? It's not about colour. It's not about race. If it's not, then put everybody in the pictures.
So why this is
Love
important
her.
is that, you know,
Point.
yeah, and it reaches home, because if you're anybody from the Caribbean will know that you have an auntie or uncle and nene in the NHS right now. So how would they feel by seeing that they're not being acknowledged?
Represented.
Yeah.
It's good. I love
a
that
strong point. It's
actress.
a strong video, Camille. It's a
Yeah.
very strong
Yes.
video, Camille, in terms of expressing in that point. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. And you know, interestingly enough, one of my co-workers on radio sent me a video of the NHS, a video celebrating the NHS, just like what you're talking about there. And all of them saying, hi, I'm this nurse, I am that nurse, that sort of thing. And every single person was white. Every single person. And I said, wow, this is what Camille was talking about. There was not one face of color. And I said, wow, this is exactly what Camille was talking about, how they weren't representing the Caribbean people and other people from, you know, whether it be Africa or wherever, Asia, who represent part of the NHS in England.
It's
a valid
unacceptable.
point.
In keeping with that clap for your carers, we have an initiative spearheaded by my darling Doodoo friend, Mrs. Nikhil Diagraph. But I also want to say shout out to some people coming on who are friends to all of us. Heidi Hackshaw, Penelope, you know she's there. Heidi and from England and one from Canada, and they are really close to us.
Roma there again.
I saw Sean Edwards came on too, so you can say hi to Sean. And you can say hi to Daniel Defentala.
Raymond Edwards as well. Yeah, so great. So at this point, I'd like us to look at this video clip, the initiative of Nikhil Diagraph.
Beautiful.
Nice.
Fabulous. Well done, Nicole. Well done.
Yeah, I bring a tear to my eye.
And we could clap all now too, for them, for all the people who are outside there, you know, just facing it head on, you know, facing it head on.
What they have to do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent initiative by Nicole there.
Yeah, it's
so
and it's happening all around the world as well.
Let me just say hi to Lisa Wells.
Hi, Lisa.
Roma Spencer said she totally forgot, so she's now came on.
Oh, yeah. I saw her doing a watch party just now, so I was wondering. Very good. Hi, people. Thank you for your support. Spread the word. Spread the word. Give us your views. What you want to talk about? What bacchanal you want to talk about? That's what we're here for, too. Yes. I want to say hello to Mika Fodringham, my darling, and my granddaughter, Shelby and Skylar. Love you all. Yeah, go ahead.
From all of us, Eddie. Yeah, also Nadia Shah, Addison LaPlatte, and Lisa Wickham. Really glad that you're here with us.
Thank you.
Yeah. People, guess what? It's time for Let's Play That Game. Okay, everyone, the game is a little different today. Today, we are going to be sending words. We're sending words to Penny to Cecilia and Richard, and then we have to try and guess. So we're starting off with Penny for your thoughts. Come on, Penny. Your word is
what word? What is my word? What is my word, Steve? Looking at my thing, but I see no word.
I sent it to you, Penny. But here what, Penny, you make up your word that you want us to guess.
Make up your own word, Penny.
Okay. Yeah.
All right. You'll have to guess it without me, without word.
People online, you can also weigh in on this. It's like charades, digital charades.
Yeah. I can't think of a word now while everything is going on in my head. Okay.
Rodeo.
Lasso. Rodeo. Fishing.
Rodeo. I always in sync, you know.
Oh my God.
Yes.
I said soca party.
Get something on wave, everybody.
Yeah, that will involve my waist. I can't show my waist. It's more like a...
Cecilia.
Okay. Richard, your turn. Me?
All right.
Okay, my turn then. Did I get a word or do I have to make up my own word too?
Yeah, make up your own word.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, who going now?
You.
Oh, me. Okay. Okay. A word.
Seriously, Cecilia Salazar.
I'm doing it.
You doing it?
Yeah.
Imprisonment. Cold. Sad. I'm in prison. In prison. I can be hospitalized.
Mime performer.
Baby. In a box. In a room. In jail. In prison. In a box.
Close, but something for the times. Quarantine.
Lockdown.
Lockdown. Quarantine. You said I didn't hear you.
All right, go Richard, your turn.
First of all, wait. Some of the people were saying mime, pantomime, isolation. Somebody said quarantine. Camille Pierre said quarantine, believe it or not. Mine is very easy.
Oh, good. I did too much miming. Yeah.
This is mine.
Open the cupboard, open the fridge.
Hungry.
The fridge. The fridge.
Refrigerator. Easy one. Easy. The next thing you open it and you lock and then you close the lock.
No food.
We couldn't believe it was so easy, Richard.
We all doing that all the time. That was great.
Right.
Okay, peeps. Let's check out our next segment. Say hello to Roger Roberts and Daniel Diffentala.
Hi, Daniel.
Well, today we are pulling up an old Netflix movie for you to check out. You know, plenty of you checking out all kind of the current movies. This is a good one to check out, especially if you like creepy. Here is
Cody?
I think so.
Cody, this is Mr. and Mrs. Hobson.
Hi there.
Good morning. He likes butterflies.
I love this room.
I think you'll make wonderful foster parents.
Who's that?
That's our son, Sean.
Where is he?
He's in heaven. Try and get some sleep, Cody. Sean? It's real. You saw him.
Let's welcome Cody. Why do you have these pills, Cody?
I don't like to sleep. My dreams.
What happens when you dream?
It's not right. I have to find out more about Cody's dreams. You've heard this before. Your son doesn't want to sleep.
That little boy's dreams come true. It's an amazing, beautiful thing. But it's nightmares. Scared.
Dangerous.
Deadly.
Ask your son a few questions.
No. We can't let him sleep.
Wake up! We promised to take care of that child.
Cody?
Okay. I'm frightened already.
I love the dog.
Not me.
I love the dog barking in the background.
I was now going to say they have a real dog in that movie, boy. Jeez, woo.
That's my adopted dog, okay?
That black-eyed boy that just up in the back of that child there, I'm wide awake. So I don't wait, have to wait to wake up again.
I'm a tiger, like a king kind of girl.
Yes.
This is a movie. Yeah. This is a movie to watch at 11 o'clock in the night by yourself.
Why?
Dim the lights, sit down.
Can we move on? That is nothing to look at.
As we have Danielle Diffenthaler with us, I'd just like to make a plug here for The Reef, which will be showing on TTT on Sunday nights in Trinidad. I'm sure there's some way you can up and link it up. But The Reef will be showing on TTT Sunday night, so check it out.
I've seen a couple of episodes.
Somebody looking for a walk.
I'm in it already. In The Reef, I'm in it. I just want you to see more of
Reef
me.
2, you know. You never know when Reef 2 will come about.
I know about Reef 1 anyway.
We need that.
Yes.
All right, so guys, we are going on now to our final segment called So I Was Thinking.
Okay, well, let's start with us here, and we're going to invite some of the Facebook people to tell us what they're thinking. So we can go to Penny. After thinking that face is looking like many things flooding.
Yes, that is. I am wondering about COVID-19 and menopause. With the heat, I am feeling so hot. I am hoping it can kill the virus.
No, seriously.
That's
a serious thing. No, seriously, Penny.
Yeah. No, we need to find out about COVID-19 and menopause.
Good, Penny. Try St. John's wort. Yeah. That is really good.
Okay.
Take that at night and you sleep better. Seriously, that's what I do.
It's extremely hot. Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
Okay, that's
You
what
don't
I've
have
been
his
thinking,
fever.
honestly.
All right, who's next?
Richard Young, what you been thinking, baby? Okay.
What I have been thinking that I suppose all of us mentioned this before. You had to use this space and this time very, very creatively. And so this program works in keeping with that. But I'm actually started to do some writing. I actually have been commissioned to write some stuff. Would you believe that? I'm writing for an animated thing. I haven't even shared that with Camille yet in Guyana. Somebody has put together a storyline and I'm writing that. And somebody wants me to craft a biography. So a lot of people don't know that I like writing and I do it on the side. So that is what I have been thinking.
That is
your biography,
I want to say,
your biography, very lovely. I think you should do your biography because I've known Richard Young donkey years, and the stories.
Yes, agree.
But somebody
But
else
I can share.
Okay, what I've been thinking. Who's next?
I can share what I've been thinking. So you all know I have 4 beautiful kids, right? I show off about them all the time. My 4 babies, right? And they're in different levels of maturity. My youngest is 17, and my eldest, I won't say what age she is because she'll kill me. But anyway, I was thinking a few weeks ago before this thing started, I need to hear from them. I need to hear how they feel about what's happening. So I literally called a meeting with 4 of them. And we sat and they expressed their feelings about the coronavirus. In fact, that was just last week, so it already started. And they shared their feelings, and it was feelings that varied from, I am in bliss, because this is a place that I can be creative, to almost trauma, to the youngest saying, Mom, I don't know what the future is. I wanted to be a pilot. I wanted to do all these things. What does this mean? And it was such a relief after we spoke, because then I understood how to manage my children. Sharing this for the mothers who are listening, that you need to talk about your children, about the coronavirus. Do not hide it. Understand if there's trauma, understand if there's bliss, and work accordingly, because we still have weeks, probably months like this, and our children's mental health is very, very important.
On that fabulous note, thank you guys for sharing your thoughts. And shout
wait, Cecilia didn't share.
Yeah,
but you have a date.
That's all right. I'll keep it quick. I've been thinking so many things exactly, but taking off of what Camille said, I've been thinking why is it that it takes a crisis for us to act? It took a crisis for them to open the Couva Hospital and put beds in it and put doctors and nurses in it. It took a crisis for them to realize that they could let go all of these inmates in the prison that were there for years in remand yard for small thing, as we say in Trinidad. I'm very thankful that these things are happening, but maybe we should start to act more kind and not wait to react all the time.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
If I could just go to some of the comments on Facebook before we go to the end of. Nolan Frederick says, is everyone think about how this whole situation is affecting us mentally here in London? It's now being discussed. Lots of anxiety and cabin fever around. Aloy Johnson says COVID-19 on menopause. LOM a belly. So that's just some of it. I think, Camille, what you said about speaking to young people about how they're taking it in, I didn't even think about that because there's a young person in the house and, we talk about it from, I never talked to him, asking him how he feels about it. So I think that was a very valid point. I'm just thinking about how the issues of hypochondria, people who are hypochondriac, we are in a mess for this entire period. Anytime your nose drip, that's it. Your throat tickle, that's it. It's like you're in a constant state of surveillance.
Yep. Yep, that's exactly. I am along there. I feel my throat scratching all the time. I feel everything. I know I am a hypochondriac like you, Richard Ragoobarsingh. So I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Okay, Richard, let's go to you.
Psychosomatic symptoms come up because every night I get a tingle in the throat and I'm drinking hot tea, all of that before I go to sleep, and I get up and say, oh, it's gone. All right, Denise Darlington, Dominic LaRoche, Christine Johnson, Melissa Roberts, Sejу Nelson, they all joined on trying to say hello and saying love to everybody. So yes, thank you very much for your thoughts. And we move on.
Take your time to love all those around you. Take time to reach out to those who are lonely. Take time to be with your family and love them up. I don't think I've prayed this much in confirmation.
Take time to love your art and dance.
Yes.
Yeah. Check in on your friends, because a lot of times you have friends and you get distant from them because you're locked in and you don't think about it because you're so preoccupied with your own business. That's what I'm sure they'll love to hear from you. So that's it, folks. Thank you for those who watched. Yeah. Thanks for all of those who watched and took part. Please, we want to tell you, our viewers, to join us and send us your comments, your voice notes on a video or a video clip of your thoughts and perspective. Email it to info@omgtt.com, and trust me, we will show it. This show is going on Monday to Friday, so we are next back on Monday. And of course, we're starting to bring in more and more people. Yeah, we're going to start bringing in more and more people from across the Caribbean and across the world where the Caribbean diaspora resides. And so, thanks for all of your thoughts and perspectives. And of course, you can share it on OMG Live, the Quarantine Edition.
And thanks to our OMG crew of our DigiGod Stephen Doobal for making this possible. In the background, I think that's the music of Boy, far from finished.
Yeah.
Celestine, fabulous jazz artist. And Vaughnette, thank you for being there, giving us all those.
Vaughnette,
thank you.
That's smile.
Thanks, Vaughnette. Yeah, thanks, Vaughnette, throughout the show. So join us at the same time on Monday and at the same place. Sign in at OMGTT on Facebook. Thank you again, everyone, and see you next time. And as we always say, let's be kind to each other.
People.
Be kind. Love.
Forever thankful for doubters and the past and the people who laugh on. Forever grateful for all the times I've failed. And Papa say, oh son, you can't give up. What's for you is for you. I said, Papa, you know I will never stop. No. Now Jah bless me with the opportunity to fly country to country. Now I could drink champagne when I'm thirsty. Now they say this hour youth man so lucky. But I thank you for the run my family. Now no bad mind boy they can stop me. And every show I'm smiling cause trust me, love is so lovely, boy. And I'm far from finished.